Hello and welcome back to another Out of Spec Reviews video. Welcome to beautiful northern Colorado. I am home and I'm with the Rivian R1T. Now this is our Rivian R1T launch edition. It's the 4-motor large pack version, about 130 kilowatt hour battery pack. And we are very quickly approaching 10,000 miles on the odometer. It's really truly been a blast. I think it may actually be my favorite car that I've ever owned, at least in the daily driver category, not in terms of keepers like my classic Range Rover and some other weird stuff like that. But I'm truly loving the vehicle, except we've had a couple issues to be expected with a new car company, and I want to go through my whole Rivian service experience. Alyssa's behind the camera. She actually went there and did a lot of things, so we're going to talk about what it was like to get our Rivian serviced. We have a pretty big invoice of stuff that we needed to get fixed. But overall, if you want the too long don't watch version, Rivian service was A+. The people were so nice, so communicative, and really I think the best service experience I've ever had from any automaker, whether it's a legacy one or a brand new one. We've owned a lot of different cars, so very pleased here. First, I want to tell you a little bit about the truck and some of the concerns that I had going in, then I'll walk you through some of the servicing. Now, if you guys remember in the video, it was on our Out of Spec Motoring channel, where we actually picked this up from the factory and drove it back here to Colorado. I had some issues with my air conditioning, and that was fixed with pretty much a quick vehicle reset and no major problems. However, also, after that video went up, Rivian logged into my truck without asking. I think they're asking now. That was kind of a little bit a weird thing. I loaded up my Rivian app one day and found all these Rivian engineers in there. I'm like, well, hold on for a second. What's going on here? And I think they basically were all their intentions were great. They were just trying to check on my truck, make sure the AC system was operating normally. But I think, like, okay, just tell me before you log into my truck. We're past that. They have a new process in place. Everything is, has to go through service. They are totally transparent, and I think that's totally fine. But I made a little bit of noise about that online, and I was just like, don't hack into my truck and give us special treatment or whatever that is, because I posted a video with the AC not working. Now, it may not have been because of the video that they logged in, because I also let my Rivian guide know what was going on. Who knows? Either way, I think that situation's totally fine with me at this point. It's all good. And now if they need to remote diagnose something, they just give me a call and say, hey Kyle, we're going to check on some things in your truck. Is it okay if we pull the data off of it? And that's cool with me. So they also came up to the house right after we got it to install the Rivian spare tire, which wasn't installed during factory delivery, and I'll show you that in the back. And they also recharged the AC system just in case. So that was super easy, really nice of them, and I think it's all good. Haven't had major issues since then. Another actually hugely positive thing about this truck is we've had some issues and niggles that primarily have all been fixed with software updates. So very similar to the Tesla experience, I'm finding Rivian is supporting the trucks massively, really taking our feedback, other users' feedback, and things that they're finding out in the field and making the trucks so much better. And so we got a diesel in the back.
It's squatted.
Cummins, squatted. Hell yeah. Love the sound of a straight 6 Cummins diesel. Unfortunately, the Rivian is not making that noise, but it does make some good electric motor noises. And I have to say, the software updates have been the highlight of the truck for me. They're really going in and fixing a ton of things, from the way the suspension is working to the drivetrain tuning. If you remember early on when we had our review truck and then we had Will's truck off-road, we had some issues with how the power was being put down with the motors. It's still not perfect, but they're getting so much better. I can actually drift the truck on dry pavement now. I can mat the throttle and it will oversteer. So lots of work being done with software updates. We have dog mode now. Really, really thrilled. So let's go through some of the issues that we had. I'm going to walk you through them point by point, and then we're going to go and talk about how they fixed them, how long it took, how much it cost to fix everything, and how that whole process went through. Starting with the first problem we've had with our truck, and I think every Rivian R1T owner is pretty much having it, this tonneau cover. Really good idea on paper, really crappy in practice. What you have is this little button here, and this tonneau cover is supposed to retract and then come back out. Sounds like it's on its last leg. Now, first off, this just came back from service, but let me explain the issue. Originally, I could tell that it was perfect when we got it from the factory, but even then it sounds a little clunky. And then it just, every time we used it, got worse and worse. And so I was like, we only use the tonneau cover if we absolutely have to. It just seemed like not the best designed part of the truck, and probably the worst designed part of the truck, to be totally transparent. So over time, started to notice it getting clunkier and clunkier, and then it started to get hung up on the way in. So I brought it to the Rivian service center before it completely broke. And I think they were saying they have to put some weights down the center to try and bow out the plastic down. So they're literally bending these little plastic flaps, because they either can't get parts for this solution to fix it, or the new re-engineered version 3 of the tonneau, we have version 2, isn't done yet. I don't know which is which, but either way, I know they're going to eventually fix it, so I'm not worried about it. But it does impact its usability at the moment. Now, I have only tried the tonneau cover once since it's been fixed, and so take a listen and let's just see if it works. Oh, see, it's stopping and getting hung up. Yeah, and actually just got stuck completely. So now, will it close? Yes. Barely. Should I help it?
Oh man.
What a garbage piece of tonneau cover. So I might just take a chainsaw to this thing and rip it out of the truck. I don't know. We'll let them fix it and try it out. And so to me, that is really the major negative of this whole experience, was I brought it in for the tonneau cover to get fixed, and it couldn't get fixed either due to a parts shortage or something like that. And I think all Rivian owners are going through the same thing. So let's talk, before we continue out. We dropped this truck off on a Friday, right, Alyssa?
On a Friday.
We dropped it off on a Friday, and they said, I don't actually remember, maybe it was a Wednesday. They said basically 1 or 2 days, which was really cool. I actually sent them a video of everything that was wrong with the truck, and I'll leave, it's an unlisted video on this channel. I'll leave it linked in the description. You can watch what I sent them. I took them through all of the problems on videos. They ordered all of the parts before I even brought my truck in. So it was basically bring it in, and they're like, hey, we'll either have it done by end of day or tomorrow. And I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. And I was actually away in Europe on the most recent trip, so I'm like, seriously, no rush, just get the truck perfect, and you can have it for 2 weeks, a month, I don't care, whatever, however long it takes. And ultimately, we were waiting on one part, which was a little speaker grill, before we picked it up. So that they had the truck for a couple of weeks, but they offered to give it back to us after a couple of days and actually come up to the house to replace the speaker grill. Since I was out of the country, I said, hey, just keep it there. One less car in the driveway, and then they fixed that. So I'll walk you through the rest of the issues now, but really impressed with the communication, the speed, the way that they ordered parts before I even brought the truck in. Normally with service appointments, if you guys don't know, I've owned some like cars from BMW and Mercedes and others. You have to bring the car into the service center, physically show them the problem. If the car doesn't display the problem at that exact moment, they just shoo you off and say the car's totally fine. Rivian was like, send us a video, we'll have everything ordered and we'll get it fixed. I was just so blown away. And by the way, I don't think the guys know we're making a video about this or even know who we are. We were treated like normal customers, wouldn't you say, Alyssa?
Yep, for the most part, I would think so.
Yeah, thought it was really cool. The second thing was sometimes this tailgate didn't automatically drop down with the push of a button, but it's working now. So not a huge deal either way. Sometimes it feels like it gets caught over here. And they said that something was out of alignment and they fixed it. So now the tailgate doesn't open at all. There we go. And it automatically opens. How about that? Now in here, I just have a couple things in the back, but basically I promised I'd show you my spare tire. There it is. They installed that. Now how the heck you're supposed to get that thing out of here when you have stuff in the bed? And how are you even supposed to close this? There it is. I guess it is closed. Don't know, but much better from a tailgate opening perspective. Let me just show you this really quick, because this is the most recent service invoice that I had from them. By the way, the cost to fix everything under warranty, $0. Super cool. So the first issue that was on this was, it says customer states they're experiencing a suspension squeak at low speeds when gently accelerating or decelerating. And that they chalked up to a slight chirp from the air suspension is a natural characteristic of the vehicle. Now, I think they didn't fully understand what the complaint was about, and the complaint has been fixed for the most part. And so, yeah, sometimes when you go over a bump, you hear a little chirping noise, especially when the suspension's getting flexed up and down, but that's totally normal, and it's a complicated suspension system, and that's fine with me. Suspensions aren't meant to be dead silent all the time. The second complaint was the tailgate didn't drop down, and it said basically the cause was tailgate strikers were out of proper alignment, and that's what they fixed. The third was the speaker above the driver's door is crackling. So if you take a look inside of the truck over here, you'll see this speaker right up there. This was making a crackling noise, and it was just basically, it was an internal speaker fault causing poor sound quality. So that was fixed. We got a Nissan Titan with a straight light. I've never seen that. Diesel Titans are pretty rare, but that's what you get in northern Colorado, a lot of diesel trucks. Come around front with me. We had a drivetrain clunking sound from all four motors, and this was my main issue with the truck. There's two different noises that we're dealing with. The first is sort of this half shaft clunk, and then this sort of creaking noise. Can you rock this thing? Every time I would accelerate or decelerate, the half shafts would basically move on their teeth and clunk, 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 clunk. And we actually had some Toyota corporate folks. We were at an event doing car stuff, and they're like, hey, can we check out your Rivian? And I was like, yeah, sure, go do whatever you want. And they came back and they were like, holy crap, why is your car making all these clunks? I'm like, yeah, I know, not good. So most Rivians are also experiencing this. And that's basically, again, the half shafts get clunky. So here's the cause, here's the concern, and here's what they did to fix it. It said a click from the half shaft to the inner bearing face was the cause. The correction was front half shafts, rear half shafts. And they did some bolt locks. Take a look here, all the part numbers and everything that they replaced here. So 2 of those, 2 of these. And so basically it looks like they replaced some parts. I know they said they had to grease some things in there. But they also said that it's likely that the problem will come back. It's sort of a patch, a band-aid, if you will, but not a full remedy of the situation. And it's been about 400 or 500 miles since the service appointment, and they've been the most glorious 400 or 500 miles. When I put my foot on the accelerator, the truck just moves, no clunks. When I take my foot off the accelerator, the truck just slows down. I don't get clunk, 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 all these noises. However, I noticed yesterday, just starting, because I launched it one time, it seems like if you're pretty hard on the truck from an acceleration standpoint, this problem gets bad really quickly. And I did one launch control to show a friend, and then I started to just slightly hear the clicks. So I imagine you get about 1,000 miles before the clicks start up again. And that to me is just a bit of a shame. And I really hope Rivian prioritizes fixing these issues as soon as possible, these clunks and noises. To me, it's actually the reason I bought the Plaid was because Tesla has such good drivetrain tuning these days that driving this around town was really annoying me. Now that I know Rivian will fix it, and it's just got to go in for a patch from time to time, half shafts, whatever, it's under warranty. I'm just going to bring it in every time it starts making these clunking noises. But yep, totally free of charge and paid. They also, let's see, adjusted my hood because sometimes when my front trunk opens, it squeaks from time to time. Now, tiny squeak, nothing major. It's a big part that's moving. Come on over so you can hear it actually. And what they said was that they hood kinch mechanism dirty, and they basically fixed that right there. So that's pretty freaking sweet. Okay, so there's the drivetrain clunk. Next one was the bad one, one of the bad ones. So let's close the hood here. Come on over here to this side. This charge port completely came off its mount or something. Charge port, I can open and close it manually. When you hit the button, come on in close, you'll hear motors going, but not catching. And then now I can kind of push it back onto the motor. Now it should close. There we go. So basically I can just pull it and adjust it manually sometimes. Just doesn't seem to be so locked onto its mount at all. And then there we go. Now I got, needs a little bit of love. And it said basically charge port door not seated fully. I don't even think they replaced anything. They may have just reseated it back in the mounts, but here it is, opening and closing perfectly fine and with perfect gaps. So that was great. Before, it sometimes gotten to a point where the little electric switcher didn't do anything and I could like move it manually. So now seems to be good. Pleased with that. Let's see, the rear bed cover. Oh, one more thing in the back and then we'll work our way to the side. So back here, when we would open the tailgate, which didn't always open automatically, which that button doesn't always work so quickly, nice and smooth. When we can close this, nice and smooth. Remember, Alyssa, how it was so crunchy? This piece would get caught?
Oh yeah, this big.
These rollers weren't like in alignment or something.
I didn't even know you could lift that.
Yeah.
For
and you
what?
get your rams right there. Yep. Now it works great. So pleased with that. They fixed that, adjusted something. A lot of just little adjustments. Speaking of adjustments, we had some wind noise over here on the driver's side. And they had to replace this window because we had some, I would say, excessive wind noise. One problem with this was, if you take a look here on the tint, they actually took a little bit of a chunk out when replacing this window. I'm just turning off the fan so we don't get it on the outside.
Yeah, it's hard
and
to
this
see.
is more of an installation error just for this window. And I have to say, Rivian has been so cool with correcting it. They, more trucks going by. They didn't initially know that they had made this issue on the truck, but I called them afterwards. I was like, hey, or you called them, Melissa, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and what'd you say to them?
Just pretty much said that we noticed, because we just got this car tinted, that we noticed that there's just a little patch missing from when they fixed that little window right there. And pretty much they just called you back because I couldn't actually get a hold of them. I was talking to their rep guy, and so then they called you and
they called me and said, hey, no problem, send us a photo. We'll not only pay to get this big piece of glass retinted, but we'll also retint the little window up there for you free of charge. And the way that process works is we're going to go to our tint stop, All-Star Window Tinting in Denver. Love those guys. They always do all of our cars. And we're going to pay them, get everything sorted, and then we'll invoice Rivian for that reimbursement, which will work pretty well. The last item on the list that they corrected was this panel over here. So this, oh yeah, this is not totally lined up. Not a huge deal, but it definitely like just needs to be pushed in a little bit. And then this door, yeah, that's right. This door was real close here and then real wide down there. But I mean, like, okay, it's a truck, who really cares? If you remember, it was a little bit out of alignment. We did a video with Colton in the detailing channel, and it still, I would say, isn't 100% perfect. I'm not going for 100% perfect. This is a truck, who cares? But it was actually, I would say, excessively out of alignment. And so they just shifted and adjusted this quarter panel. And now I would say it's within tolerance, totally acceptable. So really not many major things here. That was everything. 10 items fixed and replaced. Would have been about 2 days worth of work, but we were waiting on that speaker grill and they just kept the truck. They were so cool about charging it too. I asked them not to charge it past 70%. They totally agreed, and they charged it right before you came to pick it up, Alyssa. So it's just been a really good service experience, very communicative. I can get a hold of someone within 10 minutes at the longest if I need to. Typically I can just call and they're right there on the phone. Also the app, Rivian Service app, scheduling the appointment was great. I love the fact that I was able to send a video with everything that was wrong. And my only, I guess, a couple thoughts to finish this up. The drivetrain clunks are my biggest issue because you guys know me. I'm a driving nerd. I want the truck to perform as intended. I hate unnecessary clunks and bangs, and I really appreciate a finely tuned drivetrain. Now, most drivers probably aren't as acutely aware of these things as I am, but that issue with the half shafts was really driving me nuts. And so thankfully they had fixed the issue, and I can already hear it starting back up. So Rivian, please engineer a fix as soon as possible for these half shaft clunks in the truck. And you can see that in the video that'll be linked in the description. The problem is just clunk, 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 clunk. The second is the tonneau cover. What is going on with the tonneau cover? Just got it back from service, doesn't work at all, really needs to be fixed. We need an engineering change on that as soon as possible.
And then the key.
Well, this is getting better. They actually sent a software update to this, but still, so many times I walk out to the truck and I'm just like, unlock, unlock, unlock.
Yeah, and you're like in the pouring rain and it's just not
It just doesn't respond to the key because this is Bluetooth and not whatever radio frequency most keys are. This is a great key implemented very poorly.
Yeah.
You also made a boo-boo to the truck, Alyssa.
Yeah, just a little, you know, trucker's mark. Nothing big.
We're not too worried about it because
No.
we're still planning on wrapping the truck, but Alyssa backed it into a little fence there.
Yeah.
We made some videos about that,
Yeah.
so no problem.
But I do want to mention that when I did take it into service, they gave me Uber credits to be able to get to where I needed to go, and they
Right.
were not stingy with that at all.
How
And
much they give you?
they actually gave me 10 free rides, but because the truck was in longer than it was supposed to be, I just called them because I actually did need to use them, and they just reinstated it for another couple of days, so which was really nice.
Very cool. So you got your Uber credits, no loaner truck.
No loaner trucks. They didn't have anything. I don't think it was even an option. They
I
just
can't imagine
Ubered.
they have many excess capacity. They're trying to get trucks out to
Right.
customers.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I'm actually okay. In our situation, we wouldn't take a loaner. We don't need it. We have enough cars to drive. But loaners would be great, and no car wash.
Yeah, there was no car wash at all.
I guess what can you expect? But I was like, oh, the truck's dirty. We're going to get a nice clean truck. Again, this is a truck we're going to wrap, so I don't care if it's washed improperly, and no wash at all. But that's okay. Little minor things. Overall, for me, the biggest things with service are just things are done right, and they're very communicative.
Yeah.
And really the only thing that wasn't done right was the tonneau and the side mirror. Out of 10 issues, 2 little things, or mirror window, excuse me. Was there anything else that they messed up on?
What's wrong with the window?
Yeah, the tint was chopped off.
Oh, yeah. No, I think out of everything else, it's all working great and
Really
dandy
great.
and fine. And honestly, I walked in there and walked out. It was so simple and easy. They didn't berate me with questions, which was awesome because they already had the information. So me not really knowing everything that was going on, and I was just the partner handing it off. I mean, it was super easy, super seamless.
Love
and
the guys at the Denver service center.
yeah, they're really, really nice and helpful. And yeah, it was great.
Yeah, great experience. Now the big question is, will Rivian be able to handle this, I would say, extremely high level of communication and customer service as they ramp production? Time will tell. Tesla hasn't been able to do it. And I have to say, other car companies are getting worse too. Well, there you have it. That was everything that was wrong with our Rivian. I, again, just love this truck so much. I know we focused on the issues in this video. I do want to go into some of the software improvements, some of the charging improvements. I'm so impressed with the over-the-air software updates that this truck has received. Just great stuff in every single update over and over. The team is absolutely killing it. Our ownership experience has been amazing. Truly, it's my favorite car that I own now, excluding some of the classics and fun stuff. But just in terms of daily drivers, this is the one truck, the one vehicle that can do more of anything than any car I've ever driven. I can tow 10,000 pounds with it without a problem, actually 11. I can take it off-roading, I can shred it up a canyon, and most importantly, when you drive it in all-purpose, in standard, and you put the ride to soft, Rivian's tuned the suspension through software updates to just be a little bit smoother, a little bit nicer, and it rides just as good as our e-tron, and it's in certain situations even better. So I'm just loving driving this vehicle. Truly, truly a great ownership experience, and gets better every time I get a software update with it. So thanks for watching another Out of Spec Reviews videos. You'll hear no squeaks or rattles as well. Still, after 10,000 miles, the thing's held together really well. I think the only thing rattling is that water bottle down there.
Yep.
So yeah, well, thanks so much for watching, and see you on another one soon. Bye-bye.